So, welcome to Team Synergy for the MYOB IT Challenge of 2021. So we are a group of 3 STEM students based in the University of Adelaide, and we're grouped together to we've come together to try to improve the quality of life and productivity of SMEs. Through market research, we've identified multiple issues, with the main points being poor business communication. So within the employees of an SME, there can be lackluster communication and clarification sought for tasks, which reduces company productivity. There's also a limited budgets that they operate on for each task, which makes every dollar count towards their budget. And also disengaged company culture, where sometimes they're trying to mirror the operations of large SMEs, which leads to poor optimization, especially when working in a small team. So we've asked ourselves, how can we maximize employee productivity to imitate large enterprises, but still keeping within SMEs, especially during the pandemic? Our strategy that we've identified is to improve organizational communication within SMEs to make it more efficient, and so that clarification doesn't have to be sought or can be sought very quickly in some instances. Also increasing the budgetary control that managers have so that they have an auditable log of what every dollar is spent on, whether that be company or maybe personal if an employee has other goals. We're also aiming to improve employee responsiveness by providing a platform for instant communication between employees, which can increase the agility and adaptability of SMEs, especially during COVID-19. I'll now hand over to Chung.
Thank you, Shefang. In order to solve the issues that we have identified previously, we have come up with an app. This app is designed to help the SME in solving different kind of minor problems. Employees that need help from others, no matter you are an employer, manager, supervisor, or just a normal employee, you will be able to send out your lovely help. This will in a ways to build up a strong relationship inside the organization. People can also get to know well between the companies too. Besides, tasks that are posting will also be visible to everyone so that it makes transparent and clear to the company. At the end of every period, the apps will also automatically come out with the most active person in the organization, and then the organization can utilize this chance to reward them with a promotion. Let us now to have a look on the example of our apps interface. There will be a picture of task poster showing on the top right of the task, and then we do have task title and task description to let the receiver know well about the task when they are going to receive. They will also have a response action with accept or decline for the viewer to accept the task or not, following with a text box features below to let the senders and receiver of the task to communicate more about the task details. Besides, we still have a features bar located on the left of the apps for the further development. To avoid the employee utilize the apps in a bad way, we are required the higher authority, such as manager, to control the task flow, so no one can cut the corner from the apps. Higher authority persons will also be able to track and know the real-time location of the receiver of the task in order to avoid them to doing their own stuff. So, to conclude that, our apps is great to improve the responsiveness of the organization and secure the task in order to avoid someone taking advantage from non-contribute anything to the organization. Our timeline of the apps, we plan to finish our apps interface by the end of this month, and ideally, we come out with an apps by the August 2021. We'll have our alpha versions released on the October and going on with the testing phase. We try to launch a free trial apps for everyone to use at the very beginning of the apps development, so that all of the user can have an idea of what is our apps is going to about. Maintenance and changing phases will just get into after the free trial apps has been released. I will hand to Soham right now.
Thank you, Chong. So a question we asked ourselves while thinking up this concept was that, okay, we have a strategy, but how do we measure the impact the strategy is having on the companies that adopt our app? Is it really working? And a great way to measure this is user feedback. And we see this in a lot of the apps that we use. User ratings specifically, and short feedback in a couple of sentences for both the users, that is the employees, and the companies that adopt our app would be very, very helpful in order to further develop and refine the features of our app and to track the impact of our strategy, of course. Along with that, we also plan to track the growth in the number of companies that start using our app. Budget, one of the most important parts. So after going through a bit of research on the internet, seeing what it costs to develop an app, we reached our own estimates based on our concept. Development costs, as you can see, are the highest, as they usually are, about 50 grand for our app. Testing and ongoing maintenance costs also form a small but substantial chunk of money. As for funding to cover these costs, we plan to apply for the ISP, the Incubation Support Grant from the Australian government, um, a micro loan up to 10 grand, and whatever remains, we plan to self-fund it. And after adding up all the numbers, after crunching the numbers, we realized that the first year we're not going to see a lot of income. We're going to have a bit of money, but it's still going to be a net positive budget left for the first year of operation after all things are said and done. And we plan to use the money received in the grants from the loans uh, in the manner shown here, about one third roughly on development, 60% on programming, 5% to uh, create a companion website for the app, and the remaining 7% on testing. Summing all of that up, the first year of operations will see negligible profits. However, we plan to introduce a model, a subscription-based model that promotes growth in revenue, a steady, slow growth over time. And we believe that this app is critical to businesses, small businesses that want to survive COVID-19. Long term, that is over the next 6 months, 10 months, we have the following goals. The first of which is to design a prototype. There's a lot of good software out there. Adobe XD comes to mind. And we want to reach out to local SMEs for feedback on this prototype design. And once we have a version ready to, give out to test, we plan to start a marketing campaign on social media in early 2022. In conclusion, we identified lack of clear communication, company culture as issues um, persistent in SMEs, and our app will bring about a change. It will bring about positive company culture, and it will simplify communication between employees and managers. And it will aid SMEs in smoothing out their operations. Yeah. And we would like to thank the following for their free resources, without which this presentation would not have been possible. And some extra resources we used, along with the references for grants and costs. And that's it from our presentation. Thank you so much.